Action.
Hi, my name is Jeanine Taylor, owner of Jeanine Taylor Folk Art, and I want to welcome you to this Facebook Live session opening up our Kurt Zimmerman show called our Cosmic Traveler. And because of the situation today in our world, we thought it would be fun to have a virtual tour and live for you. So you can sit back at your computers and take a look at the entire show. I'll walk you around it. Kurt's story is almost a tragic one, but he persevered as so many of us do. He was born in Germany, and at age 4, he moved to the States with his parents. They moved to Schenectady, New York. And he went through the school system and then went into the U.S. Army and the branch of the Army Air Corps. He was a navigator, and his missions were to fly over Germany and bomb, and it ended up being that he bombed his hometown in Germany. So a lot of the early pieces are a result of a nervous breakdown that he had when he came back to the States and dealt with all of the stress. I think that we know it as post-traumatic stress syndrome, but back then it was diagnosed as a nervous breakdown. So a lot of these pieces show a lot of his turmoil, but also his belief in another world, that this was not our only world, our extraterrestrial world. And the beauty of it is that as you go through his life with his art, you're going to see a very calming, happy effect come to his art. So I will take you over to this side. And we've got a quote from Kurt and a photograph that was taken back in, I would say, early 2000 at my first art gallery in Winter Park, Florida, when he came over to be a guest artist. This is an example of, he also believed that there were worlds and living spaces in another dimension. And although this looks a little George Jetson, this was a lot of his architecture that he drew of other communities.
Kind of looks like MC Escher.
Mm-hmm. MC Escher.
Called Mars High Rise.
Yes, Mars High Rise. This voice that you hear is Bailey White, my gallery manager.
Hello.
And she has the much less stressful job of moving the camera around. So this goes into this is Monster Man with creatures. Again, otherworldly, lots of bright and rapid strokes. And then Kurt got into some East Coast Florida animals and fish and birds, because he was hired, after he came back from the war, he went to work for GE, and he was hired to work on the Apollo mission in Cocoa Beach, Florida. So that's where he settled. And we go into kind of the flora and fauna of Central East Florida. This is called Mad Fish in Outer Space. And then, of course, you know our storms in Florida. This is Ford Ranger after the storm. Lots and lots of movement. Also, a little personal anecdote. During one of the hurricanes, I knew that Kurt and his wife Joan were pretty much, in the center of where the storm was supposed to hit. So I invited him over to stay with my mother and I, and it just was such a nice kind of a meeting of someone who was very, very appreciative. My mother went into her southern mode and started cooking up lovely Louisiana fare, and So it was just a great time for us to, number one, stay safe, and number two, get to know one another.
Similar to the time we're experiencing right now.
Exactly.
There's a lot of connections to that.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Isolating and having to be away from people. But then we had our little foursome there at my house. Okay, along with the animals that he loved to paint, sometimes, I don't know, this was painted in 202. I don't know if this was actually a subject, a live subject. Or... Actually,
I know.
Oh, Bailey knows.
I know. Celeste, his stepdaughter, came by yesterday, and she mentioned that the Chinese crested dog was most likely one of the street dogs in Cocoa Beach that would come through and hang out with him sometimes, apparently.
Wonderful, fabulous.
So based on a real Chinese
Yes.
crested dog.
Yes, yes. Well, he was well cared for then. Okay, well, going on, we've got this large red bird, and again, it's hard to tell what it was originally, because he also, Kurt, cared very much about animals and their welfare, and he hated to see what we call roadkill on the road, so he would often, either in his memory of what the animal was before it died, or someone said he occasionally took them home to try to, if they were still alive. But he'd always paint them, and he tried to give them new life, new vibrant life, and you're going to see some of those pieces in a few minutes. And this is called Hyperspace Ufo, and it was painted in 2001. One thing I want to mention is I'm very pleased that Kurt Zimmerman's family, his stepdaughter and family, asked me to have this show and entrusted me with the rest of his paintings. So these are the paintings that are left, and the family has made their selection, and so we are selling them for them, and there won't be any more. So if you see something you like, give us a call. Here's another one. Because of his mechanical ability and an engineer, he loved to paint cars and motorized vehicles, but he always gave them the space twist to it. And this one I like especially. It's called Jetliner. So it looks like maybe some form of transportation. But I wanted to bring note to the frame. Oftentimes, Kurt would make these frames, and he'd put plexiglass over them, but he'd extend the painting into the frame. And these are very sought after. So Jetliner has a beautiful hand-painted frame by Kurt Zimmerman. Okay, this is one of my favorites. This has a lot going on. And I am going to bend over and see, cosmic scene. Cosmic scene. Yeah, lots going on. We've got sea animals under the sea, and then this looks like it might be something up in space, but just all kinds of movement and animals and color. Kurt was quite the colorist. And another thing is, this was in the late 90s when I first got into folk art or outsider art or art brut, and it seemed like everyone in the art world were trying to give this a name other than just art. So Kurt was sort of put into the little box of outsider art. But then in the 20 years that I knew him, we finally got out of that, and it's just art. And he's quite an abstractionist too. This is called Chinese rocket ship, and I'm going to step aside so Bailey can get a good picture of that. That was painted in March of '96. Okay, we're on the other side of our guest artist gallery, and this is Red Possum, and I have seen many paintings with this subject. Sometimes they're red, sometimes they're gray, sometimes they're yellow, but these are the possums that he brings back to life when he's found them dead on the road. Also a black snake. And this is a bird, it's called homeless pigeon. Kind of worry about his fate also. But again, Kurt has resurrected. And this is a guinea pig. And we've done a little text box. We've created one about his roadkill resurrected habit. Okay, and on this side, this was painted in November 2nd of 2001. Dog with white feet. I'm just hoping that this is not a roadkill resurrection.
I don't think it is.
You don't? Okay,
no,
good.
I think it's one of the dogs that hung out in Cocoa Beach.
Okay, downtown.
Apparently.
Yes. Okay, good. And a ferret. I love the ferret. I love the movement. I love the shape and how he got the tail in there.
Oh yeah.
And that looks like it's 3 or 8/8/99. So that was in 1999. Also that sun up there. And then underneath, if this was an animal resurrected, Kurt did a great job of giving him wings and a little Batman mask. So this is Raccoon with wings. And it was completed in 1998.
Sounds pretty cool.
A very, very detailed armadillo from 2007, but he's got the little armor on it, but just chose not to make them kind of a boring gray. And then this one is the 13-legged caterpillar.
He looks fast.
He looks fast, that's right. And then we've got a bird, and I don't believe this has a title on it. It was painted in 2007, but it's definitely heading upwards, and it looks like there's some great light up ahead of it. Okay, now we're coming to another piece that Celeste, Kurt's daughter, gave us permission to frame. And I think that just the very simple black framing, does a lot for this. It's called Pumpkin, and he had a lot of cats. I know that every time I drive over on State Road 520 from Orlando, he'd have another cat or two at his home. So he had quite a little family of cats. So perhaps Pumpkin was one of them.
Oh my gosh. We're having...
Okay, so my French Bulldog Louis just spied one of Kurt's styrofoam sculptures that we hung from the lights. I hadn't gotten around to that, but he is certainly concerned about that.
He does not know about it.
No.
Louis. Look at this guy.
What is it, Louis? What is that, huh? What is that up here? Huh? Look here. What do you think that is, huh? Does that bother you? Does that scare you? Huh? Oh well.
Good job, Louis.
Welcome to the gallery. Okay, and this is one of my favorites because I knew about it. Kurt knew that there was a flock of chickens at the local BP gas station. And so he would go over quite a bit to gas up his car, and then he'd take a look at the chickens and go home and paint them again. So they weren't dead. They were very much alive.
They look alive.
I know, maybe not now, but he painted them alive. But great wings and feathers. And that was in 2006. And then we have a nice bio on Kurt here. Keep in mind that normally we would have this whole room filled with an opening reception and the bar would be over there. And because we're all trying to stay healthy from the coronavirus, we're just giving you, as I said, an unusual opening reception. And this is called Horse and UFOs. And it was painted in 2002. Looks like there's a wagon on the back that the horse is hooked up to. And this is the horse's face. Lots of bright colors. It is a wagon. There's the wagon wheels.
GK says she's having wine, so does that count?
Yes.
It does.
Yes, it counts. Everybody should have wine right now.
Yeah.
And then we're back to the pink monsters. So let me take you over to, let's go over here, Bailey, to our middle table. We've got a few pieces that are not framed and not on the wall. This is a horseshoe crab. We've got them protected. These are for sale also. And then we have a very large piece from 95, very early piece, but this is an example of when he was painting the extraterrestrials that he actually saw, he saw and was made uncomfortable until he finally came to terms with this. And then we've got a Chinese crested. This is on canvas, so I'm going to hold this up in front of me. Lots of movement there. You like that, Louie? You like that better?
Okay.
We have all of these in our bin, are ones that are unframed, but we have them all on our website. So if personally you want us to flip through here, let us know and we can film the flippy bin for you, and you can see those for yourself, but every one of them is on our website right now. I also want to come over here. This is another one of Kurt's styrofoam sculptures, and it looks to me like maybe this could be an architectural piece.
Actually, it's a warthog.
A warthog?
Yes.
So you must have talked to Celeste.
I did. I talked to Celeste about that.
Both of us are doing this. And then Celeste, his daughter, also brought this lovely album here for us. And for those of you, it's not so much that you can't come if you want to make an appointment with us. We just don't want the masses in here, and I'm sure you understand.
And we're working on digitizing this book.
Oh, good.
So that will be
great.
available remotely online, because the time and effort that Celeste put into just assembling this book is so amazing, and it's going to be great reference for anybody who's a fan of Kurt's work or interested in learning more about his life.
Yes. And you met Celeste on the Instagram. What did we film for?
Oh, yes, on YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
We have a YouTube video of Celeste over in her home before they headed back north. And I remember this very well. This was his home in Cocoa, and that was one of his painting sheds that he had. Yeah, so I'm not going to do the whole book for you right now.
It's interesting there that he has sort of the sketch, the idea.
Yes.
And we actually have this one in the house.
Great.
Yeah.
Mechanical ox.
It's a big one.
And I sold
that's
this
a cool.
piece. I sold this piece, oh my gosh, early 2000 from my first gallery. It wasn't my first, but it was that early in Winter Park, Florida, over in Hannibal Square. A lot of you remember that. So it's a South American anteater. There's a BP chicken. Oh, and this shows a lot of his cats that he had. Zoe. Okay, so I am going to then take you to the back. And this was in 1987, a self-portrait sketch that Kurt created. And then it was meaningful for me to flip over here. And this was from 2017. And he says, "Hi folks, here it is, the inevitable self-image in new genre." He looks so happy there. So very, very happy. And that's sort of how I remember him. My last memory of Kurt was going to one of his last birthday parties and dancing with him. He would dance with all the ladies at his birthday parties. And over here is a book written by Dr. Kristen Congdon and Tina Bucavales. Kristen is Professor Emerita from the Philosophy and Humanities Department at the University of Central Florida. And she wrote a lovely tribute to Kurt in our newsletter. And I'm just going to read to you all the last part. She says, "It's hard to put into words what a work of art from Kurt Zimmerman means to me. It's about his exuberance for life and the healing he represented. But it's more than that. It's also an expression of unity and connectedness in the universe that we should all recognize and celebrate. And what could be more important than that message in today's world?" And so that's from Kristen Congdon, and she was so nice to write that piece for this show.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Bailey and I both are tearing up.
Yeah, we are.
So, Bailey, unless you had something else for me to do, I'm going to sign off, over and out.
Okay. And yeah, just stay tuned for the digital version of the book coming to our website very soon, hopefully within a few days. And we'll also be adding some note cards to the website.
Right.
So that's going to be a little different. I don't think we showed them the note cards.
No.
You want to show them real fast?
Yeah, let's step over here real quickly.
Okay.
Kurt created smaller images of his paintings, and he made little note cards. And so on the back it says Kurt Zimmerman, original photo by the artist. And so you could even frame these for a little wall montage. But these are very inexpensive, and Bailey will have to tell me how much they are.
I think they're priced at $8 each, but I think we're going to do some bundles.
Okay, great.
Bundles of them.
Great. We'll get in touch with us. There's a dog or a fox. And so we've got these smaller cards. And then this, thank you for bringing me over here. This is very, very, very sentimental to me because Kurt made me this cup, this mug. And it was one of a few of his pottery pieces. And it just means so much to me. So I'm going to toast Kurt Zimmerman and every one of you that's tuned in. Bye.